Republican Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is asking the FDA to investigate that wildly popular Prime energy drink and whether it's being marketed to children. The brand does also make a zero caffeine drink. It's called Prime Hydration. Senator Schumer claims that packaging and advertising for the two drinks are almost identical. Makers of Prime point out that the label warns it is not recommended for children under 8.
Prime is seriously starting to look like it's cracking right in front of everyone. And the wild part is that a lot of people still don't see how messy things are getting.
You're only allowed one bottle of each, by the way. Who took them out of your hat? Take your fucking 4 or 5 bottles, you idiots.
Plenty of fans still think the brand can't be stopped because it blew up so fast online and seemed way too big to fail. You're only allowed 1 bottle of these, by the way. Who tipped them out your hand? You've taken 4 or 5 bottles, you idiot. Excuse me.
You can only get 1 of each flavor per person.
But once you start looking at the numbers and how people are reacting now, the whole picture changes. Not long ago, Prime was moving like it was taking over the world. Outside the United States especially, the brand exploded at a speed that caught almost everybody off guard. We're talking shelves getting wiped out in minutes, stores struggling to keep products in stock, and people treating a bottle of Prime like it was some kind of trophy. Reports said sales were climbing past $30 million in certain markets. And it really looked like Logan Paul and KSI had built the next huge sports drink empire. But now things have slowed down in a huge way. Reports started showing numbers dropping hard compared to before, with some areas bringing in figures closer to around $300,000 instead. That's not some small setback. That's the kind of drop that has people inside companies getting seriously nervous behind closed doors and asking some tough questions. And here's the crazy part. Massive declines like this usually don't happen out of nowhere. A brand doesn't go from being one of the biggest trends on the internet to suddenly struggling without a reason. When something drops this fast, there's usually a bigger story happening behind the scenes. Something clearly changed and the warning signs were showing up way earlier than most people realized. If you really think about it, Prime had everything set up perfectly from day one.
You want the numbers?
Yeah, we want the numbers.
What are we dealing with here?
All right.
Come on.
Oh,
God.
In year 1,
Yeah.
we cleared $110 million in retail sales.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, excuse me. $250 million in retail sales.
Oh, sorry, that was a little mistake.
Huge influencers behind it, millions of loyal fans, non-stop attention on social media, major partnerships and marketing that kept going viral. The brand had all the ingredients to stay on top for years and become a giant in the industry. So what actually went wrong? That's the big question. To understand it, you have to go back to the beginning, because Prime wasn't just another sports drink showing up on store shelves. Its launch felt like a massive internet event that had everyone paying attention. The whole story starts with Logan Paul and KSI, 2 internet heavyweights who went from rivals to business partners. Back then, these two were always competing, taking shots at each other online, stepping into boxing matches, and pulling huge numbers every time they crossed paths. Every interaction turned into a massive event on the internet. Fans were completely invested in the rivalry too. People picked sides like it was some kind of online battle, defending their favorite creator nonstop. So when Logan Paul and KSI suddenly announced that they were teaming up to launch Prime Hydration in 2022, social media instantly went into overdrive and everybody started talking about it. Nobody saw it coming, and that surprise made the announcement even bigger.
You know it's bad when Prime isn't even selling for its retail price. The product that you lot were lining up from 6 a.m. in the morning for, reselling £100 a bottle for, has to have a 30% discount.
Everywhere you looked, people were talking about Prime and trying to figure out what would happen next. TikTok was packed with reaction videos. YouTube creators were reviewing flavors nonstop. Instagram pages were posting pictures of bottles everywhere. Young fans were racing around trying to collect every flavor like they were rare collectibles. The hype got completely out of control almost overnight. And the wild part is that the drink itself wasn't some groundbreaking invention that changed hydration forever. The real strength behind Prime came from influence, online buzz, and internet culture pushing it into the spotlight everywhere people looked. Logan Paul and KSI already had millions and millions of fans following everything they did. Their audiences trusted them, copied their trends, and wanted to feel connected to anything they promoted.
And we're coming together to announce possibly the biggest thing, the biggest business we'll ever build.
We have created our own drink company.
Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Prime hydration.
So the moment they put their names on a drink, Prime became way more than just another product on a shelf. It turned into a piece of internet culture that everyone wanted to be part of. That's exactly why stores couldn't keep it in stock. The second new shipments arrived, bottles disappeared almost immediately. Some people were even waking up early and lining up outside stores just for a chance to get one. Then the reselling situation went completely wild.
That's exciting. It's such a competitive space because the shelf is completely loaded with competitors and you know who they are.
Yep.
And they don't like dirty little startups like you.
Yep.
But you have a competitive advantage because of your brand.
People online started asking for unbelievable prices for Prime bottles because demand had reached a level that almost nobody expected. Getting a bottle started feeling less like buying a drink and more like getting your hands on a limited edition item. Imagine paying way more than the normal price for a sports drink just because it became the hottest thing online. That's how powerful the internet hype machine became around Prime. The brand basically turned into a status symbol. If someone had a bottle at school, at the gym, or in a TikTok video, people noticed right away. Carrying one made it seem like you were plugged into the latest trend and part of the online buzz. And just like that, Prime exploded into a billion-dollar brand at incredible speed.
What is the nickname of Barca fan?
Culés.
What is the Barca motto?
Hey, let's get with Clue.
What's the new global partner of FC Barcelona?
That kind of growth is extremely rare. Most companies spend decades trying to build that level of recognition, but Logan Paul and KSI pulled it off through non-stop attention and massive influence. Everywhere you looked, another Prime campaign was popping up. Influencers were promoting new flavors. Athletes were being linked to the brand. Viral challenges kept the product all over social media, making it feel like Prime was impossible to escape and only getting bigger by the day. At one point, the hype got so intense that some schools reportedly started restricting certain Prime products because the trend around them was becoming too distracting and chaotic. That alone shows just how huge the craze had become. For a while, it honestly looked like Prime had a real chance to become one of the biggest sports drink brands in the world. People even started comparing it directly to giants like Gatorade and Powerade, brands that had dominated the market for years. That's how fast Prime's rise happened.
You know my brother used to resell these and bought an M4 from it? Little brother, 16 years old.
An M4, like a gun?
No, car. BMW. A car.
Yeah. Fuck was I thinking about?
You think about the M4?
In a short amount of time, it went from being a new internet-backed drink to a brand being mentioned alongside some of the biggest names in the industry. But while everything looked like a huge success on the surface, serious problems were quietly building behind the scenes. One of Prime's biggest strengths also turned into one of its biggest risks. The brand's identity was heavily connected to Logan Paul and KSI themselves. That sounds like a perfect setup when public opinion is positive, but it can become a major problem the moment controversy enters the picture. And sooner or later, controversy did arrive. Over time, Logan Paul in particular started facing growing criticism tied to different business situations, online disputes, and public controversies, bringing more attention to issues that could eventually affect the brand's image.
All right, guys, I'm about to go up there as a dress as a Prime bottle. Can't wait to see what unfolds. Can't see what's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? Get it, speed game.
His name started showing up in more negative headlines, and that immediately created problems for Prime because the brand depended so heavily on his public image. When a company is closely linked to a personality, every headline and every controversy can suddenly become a business issue too. That's the risky side of influencer-led brands. When people buy a product mainly because they support the people behind it, any damage to those public figures can also affect the product's reputation. Little by little, that's exactly what started happening. The image around Prime slowly began to shift. At the same time, more people started looking closely at what was actually inside some of the products. Online discussions about ingredients and caffeine content started getting louder and attracting more attention across social media.
Wow. Yo, the UK shows up. Holy shit.
Like, compared to, you know, all our competitors, we're just destroying them.
By doing the wackiest shit, though.
Yeah, like
we got in Prime mascot costumes and shadow box.
Bro, you know, when you ever gonna see what Gatorade do that, or Powerade, or these other competitors?
Doctors, nutrition experts, and parents began raising concerns, especially about younger audiences consuming certain versions of Prime. As those discussions spread online, more people started asking questions about ingredients, caffeine levels, and who some of the products were actually intended for. Because the brand was so popular with kids and teenagers, conversations about marketing and health concerns quickly became much more serious. People weren't just talking about flavors and limited editions anymore. More attention started shifting toward how the products were being promoted and who was most interested in them. And once discussions involving health, young audiences, and advertising start getting bigger, authorities tend to pay attention fast. That's exactly what happened. Legal discussions, government interest, and criticism surrounding the brand's marketing started putting pressure on the company. Suddenly, Prime wasn't just a fun internet trend that everybody wanted to try anymore. It became part of much larger conversations about influencer responsibility and marketing ethics. That completely changed the atmosphere around the brand. At first, fans defended everything because the excitement around Prime was still enormous. But as time passed, the cracks became harder and harder to ignore. And then another major mistake made the situation even worse. Instead of quietly focusing on making their brand stronger, Logan Paul and KSI started taking public shots at competitors. They joked about rival products, poked fun at major brands like Gatorade, and carried themselves like Prime couldn't be touched. At first, people found it entertaining because internet audiences usually enjoy competition and a little drama. But after a while, the vibe started changing. The confidence that once felt exciting slowly began coming across as arrogance, and consumers pick up on that kind of energy very quickly.
The hydration beverages that are on the market right now are like...
People usually love an underdog story. They enjoy watching something rise from the bottom and surprise everyone. But when a company starts acting too confident and untouchable, audiences often begin pulling away emotionally. That's exactly what seemed to happen with Prime. The energy around the brand shifted from exciting and fresh to tiring for a lot of people. Instead of feeling authentic, it started feeling overly pushed and more aggressive than before. The thing about internet culture is that it can change direction in an instant. And once public opinion starts turning, social media moves incredibly fast. People became less excited about new flavor launches, less interested in collecting bottles, and less emotionally invested overall. The same online hype machine that helped build Prime and push it to unbelievable heights slowly started cooling down, and the momentum that once looked unstoppable no longer felt guaranteed. That's one of the biggest risks with influencer-driven businesses. Internet attention moves at lightning speed. What feels completely unstoppable one year can suddenly lose momentum the next. And for Prime, things only got messier from there. Logan Paul later faced additional criticism over certain marketing choices that involved personal family moments being connected to promotional content. Some viewers felt uncomfortable with private life situations being mixed into branding and business campaigns. That immediately sparked even more online debates because the conversation was no longer just about sports drinks anymore.
You don't lend your brand to this, or people just know your Prime? Like, how does this work?
No. Yeah, well, I'm a co-founder with
But if
KSI.
if I go online and look at the advertising of this, are you all over this?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so
it turned into a bigger discussion about image, authenticity, and how far influencers are willing to go to keep attention focused on their brands and businesses. At the same time, creators in the fitness and nutrition world started taking a closer look at Prime's ingredients and formulas. Videos breaking down the drink began gaining huge traction online and pulling in massive numbers. More people started questioning whether the product truly matched the healthy image that had been built around it. And once experts begin publicly analyzing a product in front of millions of viewers, perceptions can shift incredibly fast. Suddenly, discussions about ingredients, branding, and credibility were spreading everywhere online. The spotlight that once helped make Prime feel like a cultural phenomenon was now shining on a completely different set of questions. And that change in attention created even more pressure around the brand. Some discussions focused on caffeine levels, others centered on hydration claims or overall nutritional value. Suddenly, people weren't just following the hype without thinking anymore. They were asking questions and looking for more information. That's where trust started taking a real hit, because once consumers begin feeling like a product is being driven more by fame than by quality or innovation, support can fade surprisingly fast. Even business personalities like Kevin O'Leary publicly weighed in on the situation. pointing out how much of Prime's success appeared to come from influencer power rather than groundbreaking product development. That observation got a lot of attention because it highlighted one of the biggest questions surrounding the brand. Prime became enormous because Logan Paul and KSI understood internet marketing better than almost anyone else. They knew how to grab attention, dominate social media conversations, and keep people talking non-stop. They built excitement at a level that many traditional companies could only dream about. But internet hype by itself isn't always enough to guarantee long-term success. Sooner or later, people begin asking deeper questions about the product itself. They want to know what makes it different, what value it offers, and whether it lives up to the image surrounding it.
But it's not the electrolyte formula for athletes. This is not focused for athletes and designed for athletes whatsoever with 40 milligrams of sodium. Let's think about here, if we're designing an electrolyte formula, the purpose is hydration. We are trying to achieve a state of heightened performance through replenishing lost electrolytes that should already be in balance given your diet model too. So let's look at the elements or the liquid IV breakdown. We have 500 milligrams of sodium. So when he mentions as a criticism, it tastes kind of salty. It's like, well, good fucking luck getting away from the salty taste when you have over 500 plus milligrams of sodium.
And if those answers don't feel convincing to enough people, momentum can slow down very quickly. That's when even the biggest online trends can start losing the energy that once made them seem impossible to stop. That's where Prime seems to be struggling right now. Reports continue suggesting slowing momentum in different markets, weaker demand compared to the peak hype years, and ongoing legal discussions connected to the company and its marketing practices. And instead of things settling down, it often looked like more distractions kept getting added to the situation. Logan Paul also continued taking shots at competing products and brands online, mentioning companies like Gatorade, Body Armor, and Lunchables during different public moments. Some fans found it entertaining and saw it as part of his personality, but for others, it started to feel less like confidence and more like a sign that the brand was fighting to keep attention. There were even online discussions claiming that certain viral boycott movements involving competing brands may have been artificially amplified online to drive engagement and conversation. Whether those claims were true or not, speculation like that can create even more distrust. Once people start believing hype might be manipulated behind the scenes, excitement tends to disappear quickly, and that became one of Prime's biggest challenges overall. Instead of fully shifting the conversation back to rebuilding trust and focusing on the product itself, attention often seemed to keep moving toward drama, controversy, and internet battles. When a brand becomes known more for online conflicts than for its products, maintaining the same level of excitement becomes much harder, especially after the original hype starts fading. That strategy might work for a while online, but it usually doesn't create long-term loyalty. Meanwhile, creators in the sports and fitness world kept asking whether Prime truly delivers benefits that are strong enough to compete with established sports drinks that have dominated the industry for years. That conversation changed everything because people were no longer debating flavors, packaging, or branding alone. Now they were questioning whether the product itself performs at the level being promoted.
This morning, New York Senator Chuck Schumer is calling on the FDA to investigate the energy drink Prime.
More like crime. This is Logan Paul's and KSI's new drink. Dare to battle Gatorade. Guys, is it a good drink? 3 problems I have with it. Let's go with the good things. It has filtered water. Great. Coconut water, which is good for hydration, and some BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. Can't go wrong with it. But the 3 ingredients I have a problem with are citric acid. Everyone knows it causes inflammation. And the 2 artificial sweeteners, one of them being sucralose and the second one being acesulfame potassium. Everyone knows it's not good for your gut health and brain development. So would I use this? Probably not, guys. Parents, don't get your kids Prime. Even though it's run by KSI and Logan Paul, they could have done a much better job in order to battle Gatorade. It's not the healthiest drink.
And if enough consumers stop believing in the product's actual value, internet popularity can only carry a business for so long before bigger problems start appearing. At this point, more people are beginning to see Prime less as a revolutionary health-focused sports drink and more as a massive influencer business driven mainly by social media attention. That shift in perception matters a lot because the image surrounding a brand can be just as important as the product itself. Brands that are built heavily around personalities become much more vulnerable when those personalities start facing criticism, controversy, or simple audience fatigue. And now, regulators and authorities are reportedly paying even closer attention to how products connected to influencers are marketed to younger audiences. That extra scrutiny creates even more pressure because every decision, campaign, and public message can end up being examined far more closely than before. That adds another huge layer of pressure moving forward. Think about how serious the situation becomes. You have a massively hyped drink connected to internet celebrities, widely popular with younger fans, while also facing public criticism, legal attention, health debates, and growing skepticism all at the same time. That's no longer a small issue or a few negative headlines. At that point, it starts looking like a full business crisis. And when you look at everything happening right now, Prime feels like a perfect example of how quickly internet fame can build something into a giant success, and how quickly that same internet can start turning in a different direction. The hype isn't what it used to be, and public trust has clearly faced challenges. Criticism keeps getting louder, and the pressure surrounding the brand doesn't seem to be disappearing anytime soon. If things continue moving in this direction, the situation could have a lasting impact on how both Logan Paul and KSI are viewed in the business world. When a company rises this fast and then struggles so publicly, people tend to remember it for a very long time. The story becomes bigger than just one product. It turns into a case study on how powerful internet influence can be, both when it's building momentum and when that momentum starts slipping away. Now here's the real question. Are people still completely buying into the Prime hype, or are more consumers finally starting to look past the flashy branding, the marketing campaigns, and all the non-stop internet attention surrounding it? The excitement that once seemed unstoppable is now being tested, and more people appear to be asking what is really driving the brand's success.